Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a new video. So last video or a couple of videos ago, we installed the Sanooer tow mirrors on the F-150 and I have been absolutely loving them. They've been great in terms of the overall increased visibility is amazing. Plus it looks pretty awesome on the truck. Makes it look super mean coming down the road, super wide. Absolutely love it. But there was one other thing that I wanted to do getting these things working on the truck, and that is actually wiring up the running lights. So the little lights right here are the turn signals, but there are also running lights as well. Now I wanted to do some research and make sure I was doing it right, and now we're going to go ahead and tackle that install. So if we look right here, this is the harness that it comes with. It comes with 3 separate wires coming off of the main plug that plugs right into the harness, the 8-pin or the 22-pin to 8-pin harness that comes with the mirrors. This allows running lights, puddle lights, as well as the spotlight. Now my truck wasn't optioned with puddle lights or the spotlights or the running lights, so you have to wire all that up. But in this video I want to show you exactly how to wire up the running lights, since that is something that I know a lot of you want to run, and it's actually pretty easy to do. A little time consuming. I've actually already did it on the passenger side, just kind of going through the process myself, but I wanted to make sure, you know, when I'm doing it on video, I can walk you guys through the video intelligently instead of kind of fumbling my way through. So I already did it on the passenger side. Looks awesome. So now we're going to go ahead and do it on the driver's side, take you step by step and exactly how to do that. So before we get going, here is the wiring diagram on the harness of what you actually need in case you want to wire everything up. Now for the spotlights, which is the white wire on top, I believe you need to get all the accessories, so the switches and everything that goes on the driver's side vent by in the corner over here. Quite a few other things in order to get those to work properly. Also, you got to go in the 4-scan and turn them on. Not really interested in it. I can wire it up in the future, but not really interested at this point. The blue wire, that's what we're going to be doing for the clearance lamp, which is the running lights on the side. So we're going to be looking for the blue wire, brown wire for the puddle lights. Now, there's a way to do this. I actually saw where you need to pin it in. I'll kind of show you on the door modules of what pin you need to pin that in, but you need to turn that on with 4-scan as well, since my truck is not optioned with that, and you need to turn it on the driver control module in order for that to work. But again, not doing that in this video. I'm not too concerned about it. Maybe in the future I'll kind of dabble in it and see, do more research on it. But for now, we're just going to be focused on the blue wire. All right, so you're going to need some terminal pins. I ended up picking this kit up on Amazon. It's pretty nice. It comes with all the different terminal pins that you can possibly need. Now, obviously, we're only going to need one type, but it's good to have. And I think this thing was like 20, 25 bucks, and it's good to have on hand. So I'll link everything that I'm using in the description below for anybody that is curious or wants to do this on their own. But let's go ahead, open this up, get the blue wire all ready to go, and then we can start on the actual door card removal and getting that all wired up. All right, so the pin terminal size that we're going to need the 3rd one here, which kind of hard to see the measurements, but that is the one that we're going to need. So we're going to take one of the male terminals. It comes with female and male, so it looks like that. And then we're going to go over to the blue wire, which is right here. We're going to cut that off and restrip it so we got a nice fresh cut and end, so there's a nice connection. And then I'll show you how to put the pin on. All right, so now we're going to get the wire ready. So as you can see, it's already kind of cut when you do get the harness, but I'm going to do a nice fresh cut like that. And then we're going to strip it back just a little bit. This is a 16 gauge wire, I believe, or 18, I'm not sure. Pretty thin, but we're going to strip it. So we're going to strip it about that much or so, and then we're going to twist the end so we get a nice connection on the terminal pin, like so. So that is what we're looking at. Now we're going to take the new terminal pin, insert it in there, and then we're going to bend this tab, the middle tab, in. All right, so we got the first tab kind of bent in. Make sure that's kind of nice and flat. That. Then we're going to bend the other tab like so. So now, as you can see, we got a nice tight connection, and then there's 2 tabs on the back that we're going to fold down over the copper line as well. This is what we're looking at. Now I'm going to put a little bit of electrical tape at the end there. You don't need to, but you just want to make sure, do a nice little tug and make sure the terminal's on there nice and tight, which it is. But I'm going to put some, you can use some heat shrink as well, but I'm going to put some electrical tape just for the ease of it around the end. Don't put it too far because this pin has to go into the actual door harness plug, and you don't want to do too much because it won't go in all the way. So just a little bit to cover that end, and we'll be ready to go. All right, so the new pin is ready to go. We got the electrical tape on, and yeah, so that is the connection that we need. And all we got to do is plug this right into the harness up by the mirror, and we're going to have running lights. So let me go ahead and now remove the door card, show you where to actually pin this in. This is the most time-consuming part, but hopefully it'll be a little bit easier, me showing you step by step in this video. All right, so now we have to get to the actual door harness. So you can actually see the rubber boot in there. We actually have to wire the new harness, this one, from the mirror through the door, through that boot, into that plug. So like I said, a little time consuming. It's very easy to do, the overall concept of it, but it just takes some time to get everything off. But since I did the passenger side already, I'm much more familiar with the door card and how it gets taken off. Pretty darn easy for me, at least. So we should be able to get this done in 15 minutes or so. First thing you need to do is take this piece off. So reach up into one of the corners. You can use a plastic pry tool to get that off. And you're just going to pull, and that comes off. All right, so now we have access to this bolt right here. If we go to the bottom, there is one right there. Then we come over here, another one right there. However, you got to remove a few trim pieces to get to the last 4. So there's 7 in total. 1, 2, 3. Then there's 4, 5, and then 6, 7 under this little trim piece. So we're going to go ahead and remove the handle now. It feels like you're going to break this thing for the amount of pressure that you need to get this thing off, because it's in there really well. But if we look underneath, there is going to be hard to see, but there is a little kind of opening right there. You can either use a plastic pry tool and get in there, but I found a screwdriver works best because you need something kind of firm. But gotta go in there, kind of pry it out a little bit, and then you kind of get your fingers under there. And you're gonna pull up and out, and then slide it towards the front, because there's a tab that goes here into this side. So once you kind of break it free, I'll show you the back of it so you get a better idea. All right, so as you can see, I broke it free. Ended up using a longer and stronger screwdriver. Pried it, kind of put it in and pried it kind of out. Obviously you don't want to break anything. Then you just want to pull it out, and then this way. So you can see the tab kind of tucks in there, but we got it out. We're good to go. Nothing broke. So we can put that aside. And now you can see the 2 7mm. So 1 and then 2. So there's one more trim piece right here we need to remove. Same deal. There's 2 plastic clips right here and right here. So you kind of need to get on the side and the corner here and pop it out. So again, I'll show you once I remove this. I'll show you the back side of it so you get a better idea. All right, so I got this piece off. You can see the 2 7mm underneath, but this is what you're looking at. And the best way to go about doing it is to get a plastic pry tool and go on the side right here, and then slip a screwdriver in that corner, and then you can pop it out. It's going to take some force, as I mentioned, but it comes out, I promise. And as you can see, no tabs are broken. Everything is good. So put that aside, and now we can actually get to removing the door card. So take your 7mm, unbolt them. So we got all 7 7mm bolts removed from the door card. Now it's just a few pins on the bottom here. I found it easier to kind of start up here since there's an opening and just kind of pull it out. Now you're going to have 2 connections. Obviously maybe have more depending on the trim level of your truck, but there's going to be a connection for the windows as well as the door locks, and then obviously for the door handle here. Door handle here, be really careful. These things break easily when you take off the cable. I actually broke it on the passenger side, unfortunately. I just had to replace that. Not fun, but I got it done. Everything works perfectly now. So now that I know how to do on this side, it's going to be much easier, but just be really careful. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that once we get to it. So I'm gonna go ahead, try to do this one-handed on camera for you guys. Pull from one of the corners. All right, I think I'm gonna have to put the camera down so I can use two hands. All right, so I got the door card popped off. Now there's kind of a lip that goes around the top here, so kind of hanging there, plus the door lock pin is there as well. But now just gonna lift it up, and then you're gonna be greeted out back here, as I mentioned, with a few plugs. So disconnect those. It's just little pins right here. Unplug that. There's a little pin right here you're gonna push in and pop out. So now we got a little bit extra room. Now for the actual door cable, you can see that little plastic tab. What you're actually gonna do is pull it down, and then this whole thing releases. Now on the other side, I didn't know there was this little tab here. I'll show you like this. You can see it just bends back. I didn't know there was that tab there, and this whole entire plastic piece broke off on the passenger side one. So not fun to replace because you got to go through the door card and everything. But yeah, super easy to get out now that I know. All right, so door card is off. Now we need to gain access to the boot here. Now, first things first, they actually tell you to do everything through here, but I found it much easier just to remove the speaker. It's only 4 7mm bolts and one plug, and then you have all the access. You have this giant hole here to be able to work. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Super easy to remove, takes 10 seconds as opposed to trying to fish your fingers through there. So actually, let's try to do this on camera for you guys. So there's one here, one here, and then another right here, and then there's just one actual plug. Pull that out, and now you can just pull out the entire speaker. So now, as you can see, all that access. All right, so now we're going to get the boot out because we need to run the wire from here down into the boot here. We're gonna nip a little hole so we can run the wire through, and then up through the boot there into that plug. So first things first, there's a zip tie here, as you can see around the plug. We're just going to snip that. Like that. Now we can pull the zip tie out. So zip tie is out. Now in order to get this off, kind of really tight, but I'm gonna have to kind of pry. There's 2 pins on the top, 2 plastic pins on the top, and then 1 on the bottom. And then you're gonna have 2 plugs there that you're gonna remove. Again, I'll show you, just kind of explaining it before I do it. And then we can kind of bend it towards us, and I'll show you the pins. All right, so I got the rubber boot off, and you can kind of see the 2 pins on top. Let me kind of zoom in a little bit. See the 2 pins right there. Push those down and kind of angle it out, and then I'm not gonna be able to show you the one on the bottom, but there's 1 pin on the bottom, and then the whole harness kind of comes out. So let me do that, and then I'll show you the back side. All right, so we got the plug out. I actually found it easier to do the bottom first, and then tip it like this, and then get the 2 tabs on the front, and then you're able to gain access to the 2 plugs in the back. So pull it all the way out, and you can see a gray plug on top, and then there's another black plug on the bottom. There's 2 little tabs. You can see one right there. Just push that in, pull them out, and then we're gonna have access to this whole entire plug. So let's do that, and then we can actually get to pinning. All right, so there are the 2 plugs that we just removed right there. They go into this. I found it easier to tuck it under the door hinge here because we're gonna need a straight shot to run the wire in. But if we look on the back side of the actual plug that we just took out, we're going to be tapping in, this is on the driver's side, to this one right here. So I'll put a diagram up on the screen for you guys right now so you can see passenger side is the one on the right and the driver's side is the one on the left. So it's the big opening right there that we're going to pin the new harness into. On the driver's side, as you can see, this one's already taken up, but on the passenger side that is empty. So that is the one used for the passenger. So passenger right there, driver's side right there. So you need kind of a straight shot to make this as easy as possible. If you have it bent up, it is no fun. So try to get it as straight as possible. Pull the whole entire gasket out, and then see this right here. We're gonna make a little snip. You don't wanna do it on the outside because you wanna make this as discreet as possible. You don't want a wire sticking out here because you wanna keep everything nice and watertight. So we're gonna make a little kind of insert, little cut here in the rubber boot here, and then we're going to snake the blue wire with this through this whole boot right here, and then coming out right over there. So this is something I'm going to do off camera, but I'll show you exactly how I did it, just so you guys get an idea. But this is the most frustrating part, snaking this through, because there's a bunch of wires in here, so you got to be careful. You don't want to damage anything, but once you kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel there, and you can kind of see your fish, your line through there, it's pretty easy after that. So let me go do that, and I'll show you how it looks after. All right, so we got the wire ran. As you can see, I have it pulled through here. I found it easier going through the door speaker through the hole in the side here, so you can see where I kind of fished it through, just so it's a nice even straight shot. Because if you do it kind of from here, you got to like bend it around. So I kind of have it hanging on there, and I just push it through, and we got the wire taped up here. So let me get this undone, and then we can pin it and clean everything up. So you can see these little white tabs on either side. What you want to do is pry them out, and that white plastic piece is going to come out. And the reason for that is the lock for the pin. So when you take that out, you're going to be able to put the new pin in and then lock it in place. All right, so I'm going to do that on camera for you guys so you get a better idea as to what I'm talking about. So we're going on the top of the plug here. Take a small screwdriver, and you're going to pry in there, kind of push it out. There's just like little tabs, and it'll kind of pop out. Again, this is just plastic. So this is plastic, just keep in mind you don't want to break anything. Now, I got the pins released, so now I'm going to take some needle nose and just pull out. You don't even have to pull this all the way out, but I like to. You can see the little locking pin or locking plastic bracket come out. Now, we can take our new pin and pin it right into the left insert right there. So these pins only go in one way. So you'll hear it click. Yeah, I heard it. It's in there nice and perfect. So you can actually see the new pin in the plug right here. That's the new pin. Also, a good thing to do is take some needle nose, and you want to pull the pin out or into the plug more, so you make sure it's a nice. All right, so now the pin's in place, we can take the plastic locking pin and put it back in, and you're good to go. So I highly recommend testing it first to make sure everything is good. Just plug all the wires back in and you should be good, but do that before you start buttoning everything up. All right, guys, got everything buttoned up, got the wire ran, new zip tie on there, plugged everything in, did a little test on here, and we're good. Everything works. So the way I run the lines is obviously through the boot that I just mentioned, and then I stick all the wires through the speaker hole and put them underneath this sharp metal bracket here. You could put it over that, but it's pretty sharp here, and who knows, you know, just driving around, it would rub on the wires and stuff, and you may get, you know, a cut wire or a damaged wire. So I actually run it underneath here. So as you can see, it's coming out of the boot right back there. And then I run it underneath, cut a little slit in this boot right here, and pull everything through. So now we have access right to here, and I could tie up all the excess wire. All right, guys, so I got everything back into place in terms of the wiring. Zip tied it all here, so we're all good. I did a little zip tie on this wire here, so it's nice and clean. I'll leave a little slack on the blue wire just in case. You really don't need it, but I like to have, I don't like any wires being taut, but kind of just tuck it under here, zip tied it to this wire harness here, tucked it all back, kept it away from the speaker so it doesn't really rattle or anything. But yeah, now in terms of doing the puddle lights, so in Forescan, this is the DDM, the driver door module. So if you unplug this, this is the plug. And if you look on the back here, I believe it's pin, I think it's like 12 or 14, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, 12. So up in that corner right here, the top right here, that is pin 12. I'm pretty sure that is where you pin in for the puddle lights. So you don't have to run the brown wire through the boot like you normally do, or what I just did. So you can just do it here. But I unfortunately don't have the pins, the small enough pins that go in there, even with my kit. So I'm gonna have to do some research and figure out what size pin to do that. But once you do that, all you do is just plug it back in like that, go into ForeScan, and you do a few, you go in and turn that on. There's a couple websites. I'll put it on the screen for you guys so you can see exactly what to do in ForeScan to turn that on. But I believe that's what you need to do in order to get the puddle lights working. So another day, another video, more research. I just want to make sure that's the right thing, but I'm pretty sure that's the way to do it. Now for the spotlights, I believe you need the switches here, as well as the module that goes underneath there. So a lot more that honestly I don't care about, and most people say the spotlights do nothing. It's really not that big of a deal, but at some point I would like to get the puddle lights working, just because that's a cool feature that my truck does not have, and it'd be nice to have those. But we got the running lights working, so let me go ahead and put the door card back on, get everything buttoned up, and then I'll show you what the running lights look like. All right, door card back on. Everything is clean, can't even tell it's done. There's no wire sticking out in the boots or anything like that. So let's take a look at what these things look like. So when you unlock the truck, there we go. And as you can see, they are white. I was actually under the impression that they were amber, but Sanooer is actually sending me a smoked version of these that light up amber as well. So for now, we got the white running lights, which still looks pretty darn sweet. Hard to see in the daytime. I'll get some nighttime shots for you guys so you can kind of see the full effect. But the cool thing is they are switchback. So when you turn the blinkers on, they turn amber. And then when the blinker turns off, they go back to white. But when we get the amber ones on and the smoked version, they're going to blend in so much better. And it's going to look pretty cool. So let me get a little close up for you guys so you can see it a little bit better. It's super bright, especially at night, because I had the passenger side on one for a while. And it was pretty darn bright at night. So also when you turn the lights on, let's go ahead and do that. Those turn on as well. So at nighttime when you're running your headlights on, obviously those will turn on. It's got the side little LEDs there as well, so your passengers or people driving by can see it. But again, I'll show you at night, give you the full effect. But looking pretty sweet, happy that's done. So now we got to do some research underneath here to get those puddle lights going. But overall, I'm pretty darn happy. So just real quick, I also had these smoked covers that I've had, and I wasn't crazy about them, but I just threw them on to see if I like them. And it's nice, but it definitely cuts down. I mean, it looks so much better blended in, but it definitely cuts down on the brightness of it. So it still looks good, but I don't know, we'll see at nighttime how much better it looks. But I figured to throw them on. They just stick right on. They're legit just smoked covers that just pop right over that. And yeah, it definitely cuts down on the overall brightness of it, but I think it still looks better when they're off. So eventually it's going to look like that when I get the smoked versions of them in. And obviously they'll be amber, but I don't know, we'll see. I figured I would show you that at least, because I think it cleans up the look for sure. All right guys, so here's a night update. I have the smoked covers on. I'll take one off so you can see the difference, but there we go. Popped onto the white. So as you can see, super bright. Even with the covers on, they're nice and bright. So it's not like it covers it so much where you can't even see them at all, but I think it looks pretty sweet. Now, obviously, as I mentioned, it looks a little off with the amber daytime running lights and those on, but when you turn the headlights on, it kind of matches since the headlights are white. So let me turn those on so you can see the look. So here they are with the headlights on. So you kind of get what I'm talking about. The actual LEDs, the actual headlights match the running lights on the mirror. So there you go. The headlights, the actual LED beams from the Morimoto XBs match the running lights on the mirror. So it kind of matches in that way, but I think the amber would look cooler. So what I'm going to do now is take off one of the smoke covers so you can actually see the difference between, you know, how much brighter it is without those on. But I still think I'm going to leave them on because it looks so much better when they're off during the daytime, but it looks pretty darn good like that. Never mind, scratch that. Good to leave them on. They're on there pretty darn well. I tried to pull it off, and it's on there pretty well. So I am going to leave them on, but you can kind of see the brightness difference between the cover right here, and then if you look kind of past it, you can actually see just how bright they are. But like I said, they're still very, very bright at night, so it's not like it hides it or anything. But yeah, all right, yeah, let me also Show you the turn signal as well, how that works, how it switches back. Alright guys, so that is going to do it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that was a clear video to make you understand just exactly how to wire those up, because I've seen a few videos, a little confusing, especially with the 3-wire harness that these come with. Not many people kind of showed what to do, so I'm happy that I was able to kind of make that for you, walk through the steps and everything, and make it as easy as possible. So I'm going to leave a link below for these mirrors, so if you guys are interested in picking them up, highly recommend them. I've been loving them. I've had them on for about a month now or so, and they've been amazing. Makes the truck look so good, super wide, super aggressive. And now that I got the running lights on there, it's gonna be awesome. So I'm still waiting on the smoked version of these, the amber version, which I'll show you how to install those once those come in. Everything's gonna tie in nicely and look amazing. So I'll show you that in another video once those come in. But as for this one, that is gonna do it. If you have any questions at all, be sure to ask them below. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.